Dal Down Bahunton. Well, should you all hear Dal Down Bahunton? He was a bit of a cattle raider from Bahunton, you might expect, and I actually can't recall in the rest of the full story, but he was coming through this way anyway. There are lots of stories about Dal Down. One, I think, is that he got into a duel with Ian Lom's son, and I think he killed Ian Lom's son actually, because there's a few songs he composed about going to shoot wild game and instead shooting a woman, and he greatly regretted that. Yeah, so he was singing about killing this woman, but I think actually it might have been that he killed the Ian Lom's son. Best check my facts on that. But he was in this country as well. He was in this part of the country. And he was courting the Laird's daughter, Grant, Laird of Grant's daughter, yeah. And while he was doing that, he was keeping himself hidden at Craig Yerrick, which is, I don't think you can see it from the road, but as you head north towards Drum and Inverness, it's just kind of above. You have Melford, Vanny, Blarna Fall, and he was staying in a cave there. And in Alexander MacDonald's collection Song and Story, he talks about him. And there are a few verses about him living in this cave and his sort of foraging habits while he lived in this cave. Now, my brother went to see if he could find a cave on Craig Yerrick, and he wasn't successful. Maybe there was a sort of slab he was sleeping under or something. Here are some verses, and given the way these verses were sort of laid out, it seemed like I could fit it to quite another quite well-known Gaelic tune. So, yeah, he's foraging, he's using his plaid as a bit of a tablecloth, he's having a good time, and he's also got a wee secret love on the go as well. Murchig Buachal. Oh, no. Just need to remember the first line. Murchig Buachal and Cheskri. Shana. Murchig Buachal and Cheskri, and noch me fesket on Thrain. Shem of a jal, beam of a jal, gachlotan. Shem o chapan, movrog. Shem of a jal, gachlotan. Shem o chapan, movrog. Shem o huail, chmovrechgan. Shen a lechgan, movord. Shem a huail chmovrechgan, shen a lechgan movord. Grisher vuchke gen fasich, grisher faske knan Donn. Grisher vuchke gen fasich, grisher faske knan Donn. Grisher smierig u grishan. Grisher bristig nan kro. Grisher smierig u grishan. Grisher bristig nan kro. Struig nach Romy is tu sa gleichgich. An sa nunach sa min kio. Shana.
We're going to do another tune now, and this is another song relating to Donn. He spent quite a lot of time in and around Glenmoriston, but this one relates to when he and his pal, Ian Lom's son, were travelling from Bohunton, Lochaber, where they lived, and they were going to Inverness. And Ian Lum's son wanted to go via Fort Augustus here over the hill to Glenmoriston and then to Inverness, but Donn wanted to go via Strathspey. He had business to do there, and he was well known in that area, so they decided to go via Strathspey. And as they were going through the glen, everybody was saying hello to Donn. They didn't know Ian Lum's son, but they knew Donn, so they were like, "No, Donald," and all saying hello. And they came across a young, attractive woman, and she was like, "Donn, who's your handsome friend?" He went, "Well, that's Ian Lum's son, Bàrd of Gheabhan." He was like, "Oh, very nice." So they carried on walking, and the next young woman they passed said, "Donn, who's the handsome chap you're with?" And he said, well, that's Ian Lum's son, Bàrd of Gheabhan. Now, Donn obviously fancied himself as a bit of a ladies' man as well, and his nose was a bit out of joint, really. So, time the third woman came along and said, "Oh, Donn, who's your handsome fella you're hanging around with?" He was like, "Oh, that's muttering the muttering Bàrd of Gheabhan's son." And they went, "Oh." So Ian Lum's son was a bit annoyed with that and said, "Why did you introduce me that way?" And they went, "Well, are you not? Is that not who you are? Muttering Ian Lum's son?" And he was like, so they fell out a wee bit. And they had a good argument, and it all got out a bit of hand, and Donn chopped Ian Lum's head off with his sword. But it didn't stop him on his way to Inverness. What's that?
With a saw.
With a sword.
With a sword, okay.
Yeah. He didn't saw it off. Well, maybe he did. I don't know.
He said saw.
I wasn't there. So he carried on making his way to Inverness. But when people had heard that he had murdered Ian Lum's son, people throughout the Highlands, from the north of Inverness, they were like, "He's stolen cattle from us. It's time that Donn got his comeuppance." So they all went to Inverness to see if they could capture him and bring him to justice. But Donn was too fly, and so he skedaddled down the Great Glen to his cave outside and hid there and sent a wee note to his secret love, the daughter of the Laird of Glenmoriston, saying, "You and me, let's go and elope." So they were planning on eloping. But unfortunately, his note it never reached its destination, and it was passed on to his pursuers. So they sent a note back to him saying, "Tell you what, just you go down from Maltside down to the inn just down there on Loch Ness side, and I'll meet you," and pretend it was from the daughter. So that's what he did. But when he got to the inn, he was plied with drink, and she never appeared, so he had another drink, and she still didn't appear. And after a few hours, Donn was in a pile, and he'd drunk far too much and he passed out, whereupon the hotel owner removed his sword and his shield, and then his pursuers caught up with him. He quickly ran to escape, and he used his gun once and then smashed it over somebody and said, "Oh, guns." And he ran up Loch Ness side trying to escape from his pursuers, but they caught him quite quickly. So this song, long story short, is the song that he wrote when he was in jail in Inverness, awaiting his trial. And in it he's going, "Wow, there was 60 of them, and if I had my sword and shield, I'd have had him. And even then, he was quite confident that his family down Lochaber would pay the blood money, the compensation to Ian Lum's family to pay for his crime of murdering their son, but nobody never appeared. And he said, "Oh, well, loads of girls in the Highlands, they'll pay me out," but nobody did. So he was hung in Inverness, and this is his last song that he wrote, called Gheabhan, about his dastardly capture at the hand of his pursuers.